Aloha everyone, welcome to Skincare with Hiram. If you don't know who I am, my name is Hiram and I'm passionate about teaching you how to perfect your skincare routine. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week. It's been raining all morning and I'll be honest, I've always been one of those weirdos that hates when there's not a cloud in the sky, but when it's like rainy, drizzly, and dark, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. Maybe it's because I'm demented. Let's talk about skin sensitivity. And you. Do you have any sensitivities in your skin? Have you ever had sensitivities in your skin? Do you ever plan on having sensitivities in your skin? Do any family or relatives have any sensitivities in their skin? If so, you may be entitled to compensation. Not from me. Don't get any ideas. In this video, I want to talk about how to soothe your skin. Skin sensitivity is something that is unfortunately on the rise, and that's just natural when it comes to skincare. The more products you expose your skin to, the more of a likelihood there is that you could have a skin sensitivity. And skin sensitivities are super normal, but not a lot of people talk about how to recover from sensitive skin and how to soothe your skin whenever it is going through something difficult. And that could be redness, breakouts, stinging, burning, whatever it may be. I feel like we've all at some point struggled with it. I mean, I definitely have. Unfortunately, I am best friends with sensitivity. We unfortunately run into each other all the time, just not out of choice. Rest in peace, my skin. I've talked a little bit about it on my channel before, but because it's such a prevalent issue, I figured why not make another video breaking down my favorite ingredients to look for that help with skin sensitivity and irritation, how to know if your skin is even irritated in the first place, and products that I recommend. This video is thankfully also sponsored by ISNTREE, so stay tuned to learn more about that. So first, let's talk about how to figure out if your skin is sensitized or irritated. There are some distinct ways of telling if your skin is sensitized that you may not realize. Some of the telltale signs of skin irritation are first redness. That's just a good way of telling that your skin isn't happy. Now, some of us, like myself, do have red undertones to where we kind of just look red all the time, and it is what it is. God gave me this blessing and I'll be grateful. But if you notice that your skin seems flushed, overly red, has patchy redness in certain areas, that's a red flag that something may be going on. Also, if you notice that your skin is sensitive to the touch. For example, not too long ago, I tried a retinoid called Differin that was a little bit too strong for my skin. And one of the things I noticed is that immediately my skin was very sensitive to the touch. Anytime I would touch my face, it kind of had this aching, stinging sensation. And another way of knowing is if you are applying your skincare products and you notice that your skin develops the stinging or burning sensation, that is a great way of telling that your skin is sensitized. A lot of people do believe that if it's stinging or it's burning, that the product is working, and I do not agree. Your skin shouldn't sting or burn. Sometimes a tingling sensation is normal where it just feels like there's little sparks on your skin, but anytime you notice stinging or burning, particularly when you're just applying your normal daytime or nighttime routine, that's another red flag that your skin is sensitized. And finally, a breakout is another way of telling if your skin is sensitized. Now, this is typically if your skin has a specific sensitivity to a type of ingredient or an allergy. It is common for you to have a breakout. Now, I'm not going to go into details about what the breakout looks like because it honestly just depends on your skin, the specific ingredient you're reacting to, or the environment your skin is in. There's honestly so many factors that could be contributing to why your skin is so sensitive, but breakouts are a common way of being able to tell if your skin isn't happy. And these typically are the breakouts that will continue to last and not go away, rather than a random breakout. Now, while I love recommending products to get rid of certain concerns, you guys know that I am a firm believer in ingredients. Looking at your ingredient list to be able to tell if the product has specific ingredients that'll be able to help you with your skin sensitivity. And there's a certain selection of my top ingredients that I love to utilize whenever my skin is struggling. And I highly recommend that you look for these, just in general, because they're amazing ingredients and products regardless, but especially when your skin is struggling with sensitivity. A top ingredient that I love for reducing sensitivity that unfortunately I don't get to find very often is the ingredient green tea. Now, green tea seems like a really common ingredient. I mean, hell, I drink it all the time. But a lot of times within the Western skincare world, it's difficult to find products that utilize a high concentration of green tea. Green tea is one of those natural extracts that when at a high concentration, it can perform really, really well on the skin. Not only does it reduce sensitivity and redness, it can control the sebum production within the skin and help to nourish it as well. Green tea is another amazing ingredient that I always look for when I want to soothe my skin because of how well it reduces redness and irritation, but also how well it regulates sebum production within the skin to make sure you're not overly dry or overly oily. Technically, there are a lot of products with green tea, but they're never at concentrations that are necessarily satisfactory to me. Green tea is considered a very high quality ingredient and typically can be very expensive, which is why in the Western market, you find brands that upcharge green tea products by a lot, so it's very rare to find it in higher concentrations. But in Korean skincare, there's some amazing options, some of which I want to talk about in a little bit. One of my top ingredients to look for is Centella asiatica extract. You will hear me talking about this ingredient very frequently, and most of the products that I use do contain Centella asiatica. Now, it's not as popular of an ingredient in the Western market, but in the Eastern skincare market, it's definitely huge. Like, you can find it in most products, and I think it's amazing. Centella is a natural extract from a soothing plant that has been used throughout history in so many different capacities. while there's still a lot of data that needs to be shown on centella, it has been utilized as a skin healing agent, and regardless, I believe that it's really good for reducing redness and irritation. And it's one of those ingredients that can be formulated in so many different things, so it's easy to incorporate into your routine. Another ingredient, and this will come as no surprise, niacinamide, the gold standard ingredient. I'm always talking about niacinamide because of, well, all the benefits that it has, but one of the main benefits is that it reduces redness within the skin. This is actually why this ingredient is so good to utilize alongside active ingredients, because it reduces any sensitivity that you could be seeing from other things like retinol, exfoliants, and other types of ingredients that can be sensitizing to the skin. Another one, the classic aloe vera. Aloe vera will always be a great ingredient to have in skincare products, and you can always count on it to reduce redness. While I don't think it's the most flashy or the most appealing ingredient out there, it's definitely a good one that you want to look for when it comes to any product that's focused on reducing sensitivity. Another one I love is Artemisia extract. This one is more commonly known as mugwort, great for bringing down redness. I've used it in multiple forms, whether it be a cleanser, toner, moisturizer, mask, and every time I'm always surprised by how much the redness goes down in my skin, which is why it's one of my favorites. And another one, cannabinoidal, which is actual CBD. Not to be confused with cannabis sativa seed oil, which is just focused on like hydration and softening the skin, while cannabinoidal actually has the active components to reduce redness. And honestly, there's so many more ingredients out there, like I could go on and on and on, but these are just some of my top ones that I recommend looking for, and it's actually easy to find products that utilize multiple of these ingredients rather than trying to find a bunch of products that have one of them. I have some right here, but before I get into that, I want to thank today's video sponsor, ISNTREE. If you guys aren't familiar with ISNTREE, I've talked about their products frequently on my channel before. They're a Korean skincare brand with extremely high quality ingredients for a very affordable price point. That's one of the reasons I love Korean skincare, is everything is so dang affordable, but not just affordable with really good ingredient lists, and I think ISNTREE is a great example of this. One of the products I have loved for so long is the ISNTREE Green Tea Fresh Toner. Not only is this formulated with a lot of green tea, but it also has Centella asiatica extract and willow bark extract, which is actually known to be like a natural form of salicylic acid, but much more gentle and well tolerated by sensitive skin. But here in this product, you already have my top 2 favorite soothing ingredients, one of the reasons I like this one so much. Along those same lines is the ISNTREE Green Tea Fresh Emulsion. This one is similar to the other one, but has a little bit more variety of soothing natural extracts in the ingredient list, and I find this one to be actually really beneficial if you are someone who has more oily skin, who doesn't want to necessarily use a full-blown moisturizer alongside their sunscreen, because if you didn't know, technically most sunscreens are actually moisturizers, and sometimes layering a cream with a moisturizer is really intense, which is why I think an emulsion can be really helpful, because it has good hydrating ingredients that can be sealed underneath the sunscreen. This one has green tea extract as the second ingredient, Centella asiatica extract, blueberry extract, a great antioxidant, allantoin, which is great for hydrating the skin, and beta-glucan. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention beta-glucan was one of the ingredients I loved before. Beta-glucan is amazing for reducing sensitivity in the skin as well. Harder to find in Western skincare products, but way more common in Korean skincare products, particularly if you're looking for more hydration. And I always try to look for in products like this one. Another product, and this one's cool because you don't find many of these products on my channel, is the Mugwort Clay Mask. Sorry, Real Mugwort Clay Mask. Real. It's a real. I don't know what I'm doing. So this one initially drew my interest. I mean, I've been using these products for 6 months? 5 months? I don't know. I've been using these for a while. For these ones, I'm on my second bottle. I was particularly drawn to this one because clay masks have always had like a bit of an iffy reputation to me because they can be so irritating. Like, I've used so many clay masks in the past where I rinse my face of the mask, I look up, and a tomato is staring back at me in the mirror. And it ain't cute. Which is why when I saw this, that it's a clay mask formulated with mugwort, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to put this to the test. Also because this is formulated with hydrating ingredients, and with clay masks, I'm always a little bit iffy as well because they can be overly drying, but immediately upon trying this one, I noticed that it was very hydrating. And this one is awesome because I do notice the redness go down. Another product from ISNTREE that has a great ingredient list is the TW Real Bifida Ampule. For example, this does have 88% Bifida ferment. If you aren't familiar with ferments, they're great for conditioning and softening the skin, and typically can be utilized to reduce sensitivity. But this one's also formulated with niacinamide, the gold standard of soothing ingredients, as well as lactobacillus ferment, rice ferment, portulaca extract, another ingredient for reducing redness and sensitivity, as well as pumpkin extract, which is really cool because that is known for gently exfoliating the skin as well. Not to mention an entire peptide complex. Like, this one is definitely fully loaded, but still in line with maintaining the sensitivity of the skin. And those are some examples you can find of products that do utilize multiple of these ingredients. I mean, ISNTREE has a lot more. You can actually find them on Amazon. They've officially launched with them. Their page is called ISNTREE Official Genuine. So that's really nice because one of the drawbacks for Korean skincare is that sometimes it can take a really long time to be shipped. So Amazon just makes it super quick. But yeah, you can find more products from the line as well that does utilize some some of these ingredients. These are just my favorite ones, and thank you ISNTREE for sponsoring this video. But products isn't the only thing that you should be using to solve your sensitive skin. There are some best practices that I recommend following as well. First of all, like I said before, it's important to look through your ingredients to make sure it has good beneficial ingredients, but I think it's also as important to look through the ingredient list to ensure that there's not unnecessary irritants that could be contributing to the redness you're experiencing. And there's a lot of different ingredients, but I would say watch out for unnecessary fragrance. If it smells really, really strong, that could be a contributor because fragrance is known to be an irritant for the skin. High concentrations of denatured alcohol, like if you see that SD alcohol is at the second ingredient or the third ingredient, you may want to be a little bit skeptical because that's definitely irritated my skin a lot in the past. Also watching out for too many active ingredients. While I love ingredients like glycolic acid and lactic acid and all of those, if your skin is sensitized, it's not a good idea to be using a product that is chock full of intense exfoliants. You want to go for a more gentle active approach. Kind of like what I was talking about with this one, how it has pumpkin extract, a very gentle enzymatic exfoliant. You should be looking for products that follow that gentle active approach. And with that too, it doesn't just come down to the ingredients. You also want to make sure that you're simplifying your routine as much as possible. I always recommend when anyone is struggling with really sensitized skin to use as few products as possible. Because think about it, every single product has 20, 30, 50 ingredients, and you may be experiencing irritation to one or two of those ingredients. By reducing the overall amount of ingredients your skin is being exposed to, there's a less likely chance that you'll react to them. I always recommend 4 products: a cleanser, a treatment, which can be like your soothing treatment, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. But you could even get away with just doing a cleanser, a treatment, and a sunscreen. And then finally, of course, the best way to maintain that your skin is not overly sensitized: sunscreen. Always wear a sunscreen. No matter what, every single day, make sure it's the #1 priority in your routine. Because I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people where they're complaining about why their skin is sensitized. I ask them if they're using a sunscreen, and even though they're cleansing and exfoliating and using retinols and all types of products, they won't be using a sunscreen. And I'm like, that's probably why. Not to be rude, but it kind of is the most important part of your routine, so you want to make sure that you're definitely using a good sunscreen. And those are all of my tips. Wow, I feel like this was really scatterbrained and all over the place. I apologize. It's just like my brain. But these are some tips that have been really helpful to me, and I hope they're helpful to you. And even if you just walk away with one thing from this video, my heart will still be happy. Thank you guys for listening. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.